What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of After the Credits, the review show that no one asked for, and today we are diving into Sonic Racing Crossworlds. I have always believed for the longest time that the Sonic Racing franchise has been completely overlooked and overshadowed and underappreciated, obviously due to the genre that it's in. It is in the kart racing, arcade racing genre, which has been completely dominated by Mario Kart since the SNES. I think we can all agree on that. But there has never been a better time for Sonic Racing to show its dominance than right now. As you know, if you followed the gaming industry at all this year, 2025 brought us not only Sonic Racing title, but also the Switch 2 and Mario Kart World. And, well, to put it nicely, I would say that Mario Kart World is getting very mixed reviews from critics and the audience alike. And I would say that those reviews are trending more negative than they are positive. So, again, not a better time for this game to come out and show its true scale to everybody looking. So, does it live up to that hype? Does it meet that expectation? Does it go above and beyond to capture the kart racing audience? Well, let's talk about it. So, what is Sonic Racing Crossworlds? It's quite literally the same thing we have seen from kart racers since the SNES days. The game is centered around a series of Grand Prix that you must take place in, and inside those Grand Prix are 4 circuit tracks that you must complete and compete in. And depending on the place that you get in a certain amount of points. Obviously, the higher you place, the more points you get. Person with the most points accumulative at the end of the 4 races is crowned the winner of the Grand Prix. Then you get some cool little unlocks, and then you can obviously take on the next Grand Prix and so on and so forth until you complete the game. I was very surprised to see a credit roll at the end of the Grand Prix circuit, but I did get one, so that was pretty cool. I'm very happy I got to see that and get that little satisfaction. But as far as how the game is structured, very similar to what we've seen in all the games before it. So there are 2 main mechanics that set this game apart from its contemporaries in the genre. The first mechanic was introduced in the previous title in the series, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed. And this is the mechanic that allows your kart to transform into a boat or a plane, depending on what the track calls for. This is a very cool and revolutionary mechanic at the time because it allowed the creative developers of the game to really go wild with the tracks and still create an engaging experience from the start of the track to the end of the track. It always just was really cool. And that carries over into the new game. So you do have those transforms there. And if you notice the naming convention, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed brought in transformations. And the second mechanic is the Crossworld mechanic from Sonic Racing Crossworlds. So essentially how this mechanic works is you do a lap on the circuit. At the end of the first lap, you get a very long intermission course that is essentially just a straight line where you go kind of on this, and that counts as a lap, right? You do the straight line course, counts as a lap, and then you join back on to another beloved track from the past, and then you're able to do 1 lap around that, go around the finish line, and that's the end of the race.
What? Ooh.
No, obviously I'm fucking with you. The crossword mechanic is pretty cool. It does actually occur at the end of the first lap of the race, as previously mentioned, but you're given a choice between 2 different portals at the end of the race, and the leader of the race gets to choose what portal to go into, but each of these options represents a different crossworld that you can go into, and then you do 1 lap in the crossworld. After that 1 lap, you spit back out onto the regular circuit, and you're able to go around and finish the 3-lap race. Now, I will say, when the game initially released, there was probably only about 5 or 6 different crossworlds that you could go into. So, we look at the game, so there's probably 20, 25 tracks in the game, but only 5 or 6 different crossworlds. So it got a little repetitive, but I'm happy to report, after returning to the game to do a little bit of catch up to get it back top of mind for this review, they have seemed to have added some new ones for free, which I genuinely appreciate. So that is very nice. And I will also mention as well, there were only 5 to 6 different crossworlds, but after you complete all of the Grand Prix, you unlock the ability to unlock the courses in the game as alternate realities for the tracks as well, which adds a ton of variety, obviously, but I'm happy to see that they've added some new ones into the mix to keep the gameplay fresh and fun. Now here's what I'll say as far as the Crossworld mechanic. It's kind of the main feature in this game. Again, the leader gets to choose, which is very cool because it does allow you to have a little bit of a benefit for when you're actually in the lead after the first lap, as opposed to just kind of lollygagging, wait until the final lap, unloading hell on the people in the front and just passing them at the end. It gives you a little bit of something to work for, essentially, to choose the track. However, I don't have a preference ever when it comes to that situation. So if I'm in the lead in a race, I don't really give a shit. The only time I care is when one of the options is an enhanced option, which happens from time to time. And in these enhanced options, you kind of go into it, it'll have a little logo, an icon on the screen. And if you go into that specific Crossworld, it'll give you like a special buff. So for example, you'll get the boost power-up that'll constantly refill and replenish on like a 1-second timer, so you're able to just boost through the whole Crossworld, or you'll have one where you're able to drift and your boost charge fills up in like 2 seconds. And that sort of stuff, which is cool. It adds some gameplay variety, but if it's a choice between just two of the Crossworlds, I couldn't fucking care less, to be honest. So that's kind of what it is. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Now we can touch on the visuals. I think the visuals are fantastic. I think the game looks great. You don't got to do a whole lot in these games to make them look good, but I think this game does a fair enough job looking good. So no complaints visually. Audio design is great. The music is great. No issues with any of that. I think everything in here fits the way that it should. So all the core stuff that's important to a video game is all done very, very well here. Nothing to complain about as far as that goes. So good job on that. Now everything I've talked about has been pretty surface level stuff, but there is actually some deeper mechanics in the game, which I'm a fan of, even though I'm not going to take advantage of them, but it's still worth talking about. So essentially, as you play the game, you level up your account. And with this comes license plates and badges. So how this mechanic works is you start off with I think it's a bronze plate. And as you play the game, you unlock badges, and these are essentially boosts that you can equip onto your plate. So when you go into a race, you'll start the race with a benefit. The bronze plate only has like 4 slots. And then you get up to the gold plate. I think that has 8 slots on it. Some of the badges require 2 slots. You guys know how this all works, but it adds a little bit of build complexity into the game that if you're really, really big into the game, obviously there's a lot of tweaking you can do to make your performance better in multiplayer races and things like that with this system. So that is good. I will say, I'm kind of the type of guy at this point in my life where once I get a game completed, I'm pretty good with it. I don't need to continue it. But if I was a kid again and this was the only game I could afford for the month or something like that, there is enough depth here beyond the surface level game that you have enough stuff to stay entertained for quite a long time here. So kudos to that. That is very good to have in here. For those of us that aren't as well off. I don't even know where I'm going with this, dude. If this is the game you want to play for a long time, there's enough content here to keep you, okay? I'm gonna stop digging my own grave. Other than that, though, guys, I think that's about it for this one. I think we've covered everything I wanted to cover. Ultimately, I think it's a great kart racer. I think it's a really, really good game. I could see myself playing a lot more of it. I don't think I'm going to. Personally, I got other projects I'm working on, but I'm happy I bought it. That's more than I can say about Mario Kart World, even though that was a gift to my wife. The Switch 2 was a gift to my wife, and I've only played it on her Switch 2. It seemed like kind of a fucking waste of money. Maybe we'll review that in the future, but I have to commit to beating that game first, and I don't know if I want to do that. So, we'll see what happens there. But other than that, as far as rating goes, I'm going to give this game an A. I think I was going to give it a B. I have it listed on my spreadsheet as a B, but I think I'm going to bump it up. Just for the simple fact that I don't believe I have anything to really complain about here. I don't think there's anything wild going on. I will touch on quickly, the multiplayer is great. Netcode seems to be very good. The one complaint I have with the multiplayer is it's structured very similar to Mario Kart, where you're in a lobby, you join the lobby, you go into the race. However, at the end of the races in this game, you get booted back to the main menu and you have to re-queue. You don't stay in that communal lobby, which I think is a cool feature in Mario Kart. That's not here. Or I should have put that in the video and not after the rating, but fuck it. We're unprofessional here, so keep it the way it is. But other than that, I think an A is a great rating for it. That is where I'm going to put it. I'm happy with that. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for spending some of your day or evening with me. I appreciate you taking the time to watch it. If you liked it, consider liking and subscribing. It will help me out. We are very close to my goal of 300 subs by the end of the year. 6 away. After the credits, videos get about 30 views. So I don't think I'm going to get it in this video, but if you're new and you like it and you like my content, I would really appreciate you. Other than that, I'm working on Ghost of Yote. I'm working on Final Fantasy 2. I'm working on Ball Pit. I'm playing Mega Bonk. What else? GTA 5 for that series. So I'm fucking busy, man. Busy, man, and we're coming into peak season for us mailmen, so it's going to be even harder to find gaming time. So I wouldn't expect the next review to come out for a while, but I have some ideas kicking around the old brain just to talk about some stuff with you guys, similar to other videos I've done in the past that we'll probably dive into in the little hiatus period, but just be expecting probably a Ghost of Yote review sometime probably in, if not the end of this month, sometime in December, but we'll see how it goes. Other than that, that's it. I love you all. Take care. Tell someone you love them today. It could change their life, and we'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one, guys.